Welcome back. We are in conversation with the Department of Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, of course, on here to speak to us about yet another extension of the ZEP permits to the 31st of December 2023. Minister, thank you so much again for your time. Just for the benefit of our viewers, let me repeat that question again to you and pose it again. A number of Zimbabweans, of course, the bulk of them welcoming, of course, this latest extension, but many questioning the reasons behind yet another extension, the third extension this time, of essentially a non-extendable permit. What led to this decision?
Well, it's a second one, Unat. It's a second extension, not the third one. It's very simple. In May and June, from the beginning of May, we started seeing a very high increase, exponential increase in the number of people who are applying. And as I'm speaking now, we are getting between 1,000 and 1,500 applications every single day. Unfortunately, it's not out of our making. It's a decision of those people who were offered this opportunity to apply. They decided to apply last minute. So we had to be pragmatic and practical and look at the time left. I'm sure you are aware we are left with only 3 weeks towards the end of this exemption permit. So we had no other option but to extend.
And of course, Minister, it being the third, I suppose many people are looking back at that decision by Cabinet in November 2021, in fact, where Cabinet said it would no longer extend, the ZEP, and in fact gave a deadline of the end of that year, in fact. But that, of course, was extended by 12 months to December 2022, and then, of course, to June of 2023, and we are here now. But Minister, just based on your question, your answer now, is it a problem of a workload? Because one would imagine that you would have anticipated, this kind of workload that would be coming through in terms of those that are applying for waivers. And many, in fact, Zimbabweans saying some have applied since September, and many thinking that they don't qualify, to obviously approach the Home Affairs Department and to make this waiver application.
They judge themselves not to be qualifying and not to apply. The load of work extension was decided upon last year. Unat, if you remember, there's a team of experts chaired by the former Director General in the Presidency who advised us because of the load of work. We must extend, and we extended to June, and then we waited for applications. They were coming, but in drips and drabs. Now, all of a sudden, in May, they are coming in large numbers. We had to be pragmatic and be fair and reasonable. And I think we're going to be seen as unreasonable just to say, look, it's not our fault to apply it last minute. And even then, I don't think the laws of the country will allow us to do that. So we had to face reality. In other words, this extension is a form of a force majeure, whereby we had no other option but to extend because people just waited for the last minute to start doing applications. If they didn't, the workforce we have will have been able to process the applications that were coming in.
Minister, of course, your department has ensured, those that are permit holders, that the 6-month extension ensures that no holder of a valid permit may be arrested, ordered to depart, or to be detained for purposes of deportation. Has this directive been communicated to, various law enforcement authorities who are apparently, or I would assume, who were ready, to enforce any action by the 1st of next month? I know that the department has issued an update in terms of the immigration directive for border posts. Has this also been afforded, to the SAPS or other law enforcement authorities?
We have given it to everybody who it affects. We have given it to everybody whom it affects because it's sent to the airports, it's sent to the borders, etc. But remember that if it's policemen under SABC who want to arrest somebody because they've got no document, they can't do so without checking with officials of Home Affairs. And officials of Home Affairs are the ones to whom this directive is directed.
And Minister, I just want your thoughts in terms of, the judgment in the legal challenge that is currently ongoing. Of course, we know that, that judgment remains reserved. Just your anticipation in terms of which way that judgment would go, particularly as, the deadline has now been extended to December.
Well, Unachi, you will be aware that we defended that case, 3 of the cases. But every time in a constitutional democracy, you go to court the case, you will know that it can go either way. You have won some cases in the past and lost others. So you get prepared for either of the 2 eventualities. And that's where we are. We're just waiting to hear whatever the judge will read the judgment and decide here and there. But we are a constitutional democracy. We wait for, the rule of law, the courts have got the final say in most of the decisions, and we'll wait and see.
Minister, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really do appreciate it. Home Affairs Minister there, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, of course, just commenting there on the extension of the ZEP to 31st of December 2023.